Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Dental Up Podcast, brought to you by Keating Dental Arts, a full-service, award-winning dental laboratory. Each week, you'll learn tips and techniques from real-world dentists, bringing you in-depth interviews, motivating stories, current events, and sports. Here's your host, Shaun Keating.
Hey everyone, Shaun here. Welcome to another episode of the Dental Up Podcast. Our guest this week graduated from the University of Texas Health Science Center at San Antonio Dental School. He was named one of the top 40 dentists under 40 and is the founder of DentalMaverick.com. Currently practicing from Austin, Texas. Please welcome Dr. Tuan Pham DDS. How's it going, Dr. Pham?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, dude, I love you, man. I've had you a couple years ago on this, and you're just a freaking rebel, man. I mean, you're a rock and roller. You're a full-on entrepreneur. I love how you practice dentistry, and it's an honor to have you on the podcast again, man. So
I appreciate the invite. Thank you.
Yeah, that's so cool. Well, hey, I always start off talking a little bit about sports real quick, and I know you're out in Texas and you love your Longhorns and all that. What do you think, man? Do you think they're going to be any better this year? They had a tough year last year, I think.
Well, I'm a fan. I can only hope for the best, but you know what? I feel like my year's about to get towards the end because September rolls around. It's football season.
Yeah,
I love it.
I know you're Texas.
It's glorious.
You guys love your teams in Dallas, and heck with the NBA playoffs, man. I really thought Houston was going to go and do better than they did.
Well, they blew it.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, they blew it. I mean, they blew it that last game. I mean, I hate to say it, I want Texas teams to win, but I mean, they simply blew it.
Yeah. And then I hear Chris Paul argues with everybody and whatever team he's on. And I just think Harden's a stud, but I don't think Chris Paul's all that. But no. And then you're watching it right now. I mean, Golden State's waiting. They're resting. And God, last night Toronto beat Milwaukee. Man, they're up 3-2. Man, they could be in the big dance for the first time ever. Toronto and what's his name, Drake, sitting there massaging the coach's shoulders and stuff, and it's kind of crazy, man. But what else we got? We got Indianapolis 500 is on Sunday. I remember I was there last year, and it was so neat. I loved seeing that. What a great race. But I
mean, you should take one of your cars out there and just join them.
Yeah, I wanted to. I actually we were supposed to deliver. I've had this car being built for me over in Europe, in England, and we got it finally down to the U.S., and we're still trying to get it registered, but it was supposed to be in the Indy 500 parade, the Keating Bolt, it's called. Keating Supercars, man. Yeah, another venture. But, dude, that's a trip, man. So, well, anyways, dude, let's go ahead and dental up. So, Dr. Pham, tell me a little bit about, real quick, on why you got into dentistry, and at what point did you think, I want to be a dentist?
Honestly, I'll tell you how I became a dentist. I was in college. I had like 80-something hours, and all I knew at that point was I was loving college. I was drinking a lot of beer, having a good time. And then the advisor lady, that's literally what I was doing. The advisor lady was like, hey, you got 80 hours. What are you going to do with your life? And I was like, her name was Judy. I was like, I don't know. And she's like, you better think about it. So I remember looking at her, and I was like, all right. Give me 2 weeks. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. And I remember going back to my dorm room because I was living in the dorm because I didn't want to, it was close, I could take a nap between classes.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like sitting there, and I remember I was like, man, what do I want in my life? And then I was like, I want to be like my dad. He's like this in a cubicle. I don't know, he stares at a computer all day. I mean, it's all right, but I don't want that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? I really don't want to work on Friday. I want a 3-day weekend. And I was like, who has a 3-day weekend? And I'm like, you know what? My dentist has a 3-day weekend. I know that because we never get Friday appointments. So I'm like, I'll be a dentist. And then I remember I came back to this lady 2 weeks later. I was like, I'm going to be a dentist. And then I looked it up. I'm like, I know there's a dental test I got to take. I'm going to take this dental test. And I'm going to be a dentist. And she was like, all right. I didn't think she probably thought I was serious, but there we go. I studied for the test. I took the test. I kicked butt on it. And I was like, I got into all the Texas dental schools, and I was like, all right, now what?
Yeah.
Let's go to dental school.
Oh, that's got a great story. Dude, you should go see if that Judy's still there after all these years. Well, not that many years.
I know.
You're so young, but you should go say, Judy, hey, man, I'm rocking and rolling as a dentist, little girl.
Yeah.
Here's $5,000 for you because I'm just thankful that, no.
Yeah, I know. I should go find her. I should go back on campus if she's still there and be like, is this Judy lady still here?
Yeah.
Where's she?
I
Thank you.
want to hook her up with her grill. I remember she had a snaggletooth back then, and let's hook her up. Oh, man, that's so cool, dude. And the Longhorns, man, I mean, what a great school in Austin. I mean, I'd never been to Texas, and I went to your Dental Maverick program a couple years ago, and I went down with my wife, and one of my best friends, I went all the way through elementary through high school. He moved out to Austin after graduating in 1980, and he's been there ever since. But what a great town. What a party town. What a good food town, too. And just
we got Franklin's barbecue here.
Oh, dude.
We got a lot of food here.
The wake that we went down there, they were closed, man. They close a couple times a year. And the time I came, they were closed. So we went to like 2 or 3 different places that the locals kind of say are even better than Franklin. I don't know about that. I've never been to Franklin. But one thing I did remember that was just so neat. It was so hot. I remember that one Friday we had a little bit of time before your program and everything. And so we went into the state capitol down there, and just the history of that, hundreds of years going back, and all the different presidents and all the different guys that ran all of Texas. And what a great historical. I mean, we went on a tour, and it was really neat because it was all air conditioned inside. And so I'm saying, we're hanging out here for a while, baby, because it's hot out there. Unless I'm by a pool, I better be in the AC. And so sure enough, but what a history. I mean, Texas, man, they rock, man. They are really solid. And it's just learning all, that I should have learned in school. I kind of learned it that day. And what a great history you guys have, and what a great capital. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, I think they've been saying something like, I think it's like 110, 120 people per day move to Austin. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah. You guys and Nashville are like the 2 hottest places for all the younger people. It's a trip. My sister's and her husband and their kids just kind of all graduated college and everything. And so they're moving out to Nashville themselves. And, it's kind of a neat thing how you got these different places that are kind of blowing up and just, cutting edge with, technology and businesses going to both you guys in Austin and in like Nashville and some of these other places. It's kind of neat to see it, that they're thriving like they are, man. That's totally cool. I like, and the same thing with like Nashville. They got a good music scene. I mean, you got your Austin City Limits, and Nashville's got all their honky tonk, and
Grand Ole Opry,
yeah, and they got great food too, barbecue, man. You get that brisket or some riblets, man. I'm in heaven. That's awesome.
I mean, you know what? I got to hand it to like vegetarians. They got the willpower. I mean, I smell some barbecue, some steaks. Just gotta eat it.
I know. I'm telling you, man. I gotta put the fork down. I've been eating a little too much of that barbecue.
You ever get the meat sweats? You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know. Is that what they're called, meat sweats? I just get the sweats when I get excited.
Yeah. No. When you eat like a ton of like barbecue or like meat, and then you like go to sleep, and I swear you get like weird dreams, or you just feel like you're sweating out like meat. It's like the meat sweat.
I thought that was just normal.
No, I don't know.
I've been having that all my life, I thought. That's funny. Now I sleep like a baby. Big old fat baby, that's for sure. Dude. So tell us, let's go through a little bit of this, and then we'll get on the Dental Maverick program.
All right.
But tell me a little bit about your practice. Did you start out as an associate, or did you just go right on in and purchase your practice? Tell me a little bit about your own practice and everything.
I'm like most docs. When I graduated, once again from school, I was like, man, I got a job. And really what was most important in my mind was like, I got some beer money and I got my own nice place now, which at that time is all relative. I mean, I had a big apartment, but for me, that was like, yay, this feels awesome. Yeah. So like most people, I'm working for other docs, and it was nice. I learned a lot. I learned early on, kind of started noticing what I didn't like about how practices were run. I started thinking about why do they do stuff like this? And so I think I mentioned this to you before, but I mean, I worked at a cush fee-for-service office, and then one day I lost my job because the office was sold.
No.
I mean, it's not their fault. You know, I was offered the office at one point to buy, but you know what? I saw this loan. I mean, I saw this note for this huge loan for this office, and I just didn't. You know, I was just fresh out of school. I didn't. I mean, it's a very nice office, actually, a very well-run office, but it's just too much for me to handle. But then reality struck me in the face because I had no job. And I was like, uh-oh, what do I do now? You know, it's like your parents kicking you out, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, in the moment, it's not good because you're freaking out. But in hindsight, it's glorious. It's great.
Yep.
I mean, you know, if I never got kicked out of that and I just had an associate job, I'd still probably be doing that and, you know, being ho-hum, you know, just going through life, you know, not being like you building a badass lab, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, so.
No, everything happens for a reason, and it's not by chance. I mean, it was meant to be, but I hear you on that, how if that didn't happen, you'd probably be working like stuff didn't go on with me at my old job.
I'd be like a drone.
Yeah.
You know, I'd just be working. There's nothing wrong if that's what you want, but it made me realize that's not what I wanted. So I was like, I got this fire, and then I was like, all right, well, this means I got to go out on my own. And so in the meantime, I started hunting for building my own practice. I knew that I should try out different types of jobs. So I worked in super busy Medicaid office, triple booked. I worked in like high volume, just an insurance office.
Okay.
And that gave me some strengths and weaknesses. It taught me what I liked. And then I found the perfect spot, relatively, you know, quote unquote, perfect for myself, which is my current practice. And so I opened it, and then I said, you know what? I didn't like working like super high volume. I like slow practice. I like chatting with people, and I think most dentists are a little obsessive. I'm obsessive about certain things, and I like to like get it just right like I want. I'm always envious of dentists that can kind of suppress that in their mind, but I can't. Like, I just gotta do something a certain way when I work on a tooth. Yeah. And so I knew that for me to enjoy work, or at least allow that portion of my brain to like appease itself, I had to work like a lower volume office. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to go with who I am. And so I created this office. You know, it's fee for service. I do my job as I want. You know, I get paid nicely, you know, and I do great work for patients, you know. I'm not like, you know, I'm not one of the superstars of the world in terms of you know, like my work that I do, but I put, how do I say this? I put the best effort in my work, and I'm proud of it. You
Absolutely.
know? And I enjoy it. I really enjoy going to work.
That's so cool. And you really are crushing it. And before we get into the Dental Maverick, how did you get all the knowledge with the CE that you're starting off with? How did you develop into the Dental Maverick program that you started? And tell us a little bit about your journey before you started Dental Maverick and why you started Dental Maverick, if you could.
Like I was saying, I'm kind of obsessive. I'm like a nerd about stuff. And so if I'm going to do something, I just can't half-ass it when I do it. Like, if I'm going to do something, I just have to figure out how to do it as best as I can. And I'm kind of like a risk taker, meaning that I like to analyze the situation, and if it doesn't feel as good as it should be, I have no problems making adjustments to try and figure out what works. So with that being said, I decided that I was like, man, you know what? If I want to be successful, I want to make a practice that's low volume, I got to figure this out. And so I like to learn, you know, I learn from other people. I didn't want to learn from dentists because I wanted to learn in a manner that I can learn the principles from other sources and adapt it to myself. So I read I'll tell you, if you look at my bookshelf, I threw a bunch away of books when I was cleaning out. I did that Mario Kondo thing, or get rid of stuff you don't use anymore. Yep. But I used to have like books and books, and I read I had like a shelf full of books of stuff I read. And I read about systems and industries of production and just management and everything in other industries. And then in the end, once you read enough things, you see how everything overlaps and what works and what. And then eventually you just meld it together. And And being a dentist, many of the principles are similar, but you have to adapt them to dentistry a little more because it's a small business. And my small business is different from your business, which is a much medium. I don't know if you're medium or large size, but then you have to delegate, and it's similar, but it just scales differently. So in the end, I created this because I had to figure out what worked. And, early in my years, I'm not going to lie, I made a bunch of dumb errors. And I think back at it, I was like, why the heck did I do that? But, you learn from your errors, and eventually you get to stuff that is pretty reproducible. And then I had friends, I had people that I was helping out just for fun. And I started, reproducing it and really working at it once I started writing it down. I had a group of friends, a group that I ran, and they were like, I told them once I wanted to be a teacher, and they said, well, why don't you just do it? Someone told me, I'll never forget this. They're like, I know what you do on Fridays. All you do is you sit there and you drink beer. And I was like, you were absolutely right. I don't do anything on Fridays sometimes except drink beer because that's what I wanted to do. And then I said, I literally said to the guy, I will do this. And I knew in my mind, I was like, I'm just going to drink beer in the afternoon instead of the first, whenever I plan to do it, I'm going to work beforehand. So I did. And then at the beginning, like the test trial, I, had people I knew that I was like, hey, man, I wrote this stuff. And, if you want some help, I'll help you out. And I saw things were reproducible. And then from there, you just launch it. And now we're like I think I'm 4 years into it, 4.5 years into it, or something like that. And I've got people with results reproduced over and over and over again. So
that's amazing.
For sure, I know it works now. I know.
It's amazing.
And it's funny. My favorite thing about this is like when you see doctors, like doctors are smart. Dentists are very smart people. I mean, if you could do a root canal, you could do a crown. You've got to be so smart to figure out all the aspects technically that you may not even thinking about as you're doing it. So you're smart. And like, when you want to learn, some of these docs, I just meet them. They're just hungry for information, but they haven't figured out where to find it. And once they get that information in a manner that because I'm a dentist, I know how dentists think, so I know how to present the information to them that makes it more easily absorbed. Once they get it, it's like you see this change in them, you see this constant growth. It's like this light bulb goes off, and then they just run with it.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's awesome. It's like for you, it's probably like you got this beautiful crown that's made, and you deliver it. You give it to someone, they deliver it, they put it in their mouth, and you're like, damn, that's good. That's some good stuff.
Exactly. That's awesome, dude. No, I love your attitude. And so it's almost like you get practice management, you get technical, you get everything. I mean, you got it all wrapped up into one program. How did you come up with the name Dental Maverick? You're just like the Maverick, Dental Maverick? I mean, how'd you get that name?
Oh, I was sitting with my buddy, and we were doing work. He's a dentist, too. We were working on this, and his wife was there, too. And then we were just sitting there, and we're like, we need a name for this. And then so we threw out all these silly names, and all of a sudden, I was like, Maverick, Dental Maverick. I like yelled it out or something, and he's like, and his wife was like, "Ooh, that's a good name." And I was like, "Oh, that's it. That's what we're gonna call it."
Did you check to see if the web domain name was all good and everything?
I think we registered it right away. I was like, I'm registered right away.
It's evolved too. I mean, tell us a little bit about it. Tell us what it's all about. Tell our audience what you got going. And I know it's coming up here in August. You were a little later in August before. Now I think you're August 2nd and 3rd this year.
Well, it's always the first weekend.
Okay,
so
that's it.
The event that we have coming up is Dental Maverick Summit. I mean, Everyone should check this out. This is the live CE. This is not really the course, because the course is like, I forget how many hours it is. It's like me talking for like 20 hours or something like that and teaching. But this one is like, this is where we got industry giants and people that are just like awesome and badass at what they do coming in and giving people insight and gems, practical gems about how they have accomplished their niche and success in dentistry. Like, we have a guy, average age of retirement is what, like 68.8, I read. Okay. And this guy was able to retire in his 40s. So, heck? He has some, he has something that allows him to accomplish that. And that's what we need to hear. Our dentists need to hear that, because dentistry and the age of retirement keeps going up. We got another lady. She's the expert at medical billing. Many of us, when we hear medical billing, we get these alarms that go in our head saying, I don't think it's possible. I think that too, honestly, because I don't know anything about it. Mm-hmm. Yet she has been in this field for, I think, 20 years, and she knows how to get it done. And that's an avenue, a way for dentists to get reimbursement and increase patient acceptance and patients, because people hear about it. You know, that's something that you're doing differently from other offices.
Absolutely.
So we have industry giants, but not only they're giants, these are all real. Every speaker this year is a real practicing dentist.
Beautiful.
They work in an office and do work. So they're in the real world. They're in the trenches. They know exactly what's going on and what patients think, et cetera. So that's the cool thing about it. And so, I don't know, it's this August 2nd and 3rd. And, you know, one of the coolest things we're doing about this is, you know, when I go to a CE, or many of us have experienced this, if you go to a CE, maybe not you, Shaun, because you're an outgoing guy. You should meet everybody. Yeah, I mean, but, you know, sometimes you get there, you've been flying, you're tired, you get into the hotel, and then you're like, oh, man, what do I do now? You're like, oh, I got to eat dinner, and you walk into the lobby, and you're like, oh, maybe I see that guy. He or she looks like a dentist, you know, this course. Is it them? I don't know. And you're like, maybe I'll talk to them. No, I won't. I don't want to talk to them. So you eat there, you sit there down, you eat dinner by yourself, you go to your hotel room, you watch some TV, you go to bed. Next day you go to the course and you're like, oh, it was that person. But everyone's in this room, you don't really talk, and then it's a break, and then you're like, I don't really want to talk to this person. And before you know it, you're going home, you learn some stuff, but then it's like, that's kind of it. And you go home and hopefully you implement it. Well, the difference here is I like to have fun, first of all.
Yes.
I'm saying, if I do something and it's boring, like an event, what's the point of it? Exactly. I got no reason to do it. And so I know dentists many of us we're cool people. We're fun to talk to, but it takes a little of us to break out of our shell.
Yes.
You know, hey, and you know what? Most of us like to have, you know, most of us, even if we're introverts, we want to meet someone that matches up to us. So one of the ways that I do this is when you get here, you basically have everything included. You don't have to think about a single thing. Get here, come to the lobby, take one of our shuttles or take an Uber, go to our event. We have we have open bar at no cost for you. And we have dinners catered for you. So you don't have to think about it. You come there, you meet people, you're going to eat anyway. So you might as well eat with us for free.
Yep.
Might as well get some drinks. And you know, when you get a drink or two in you, then your inhibitions are a little down.
Exactly.
And then you're like, all right, I'm going to go talk to this person. And if you don't talk to this person, I'll make some silly game where you can win some prize or something like that, just to motivate you to talk to someone and make a new friend.
Oh, I know, man.
So that's the difference. I mean, one of the differences besides like a great presentation among all the presenters. You have fun. You learn.
Oh, yeah. And I'm a witness to it, you know, because I've been to it. And me and my wife went, and I'm a lab guy, and it was all dentists, and we're the only lab guy there, you know, me. And I think we brought Erica with us, too. And it was it was so fun. I mean, everyone's got their little name tags on, but it really reminded me of the early days of Dental Town gatherings in Vegas, you know, when we had 300 or 400 people. But it was just so outgoing.
Dental Town in Vegas.
Yeah, and it really, everyone, when you go in there at the Dental Maverick Summit there, everyone just kind of knows each other in a way. You could just tell, you know, this guy, you see him on Facebook, or you see this guy lecturing, and they were all just so humble, and everyone open arms, and a lot of doctors brought their staffs and stuff like that, because you have so many different programs with different lecturers on different, you know, things for staff, for everything, like even like you said, the billing and on and on. But it was a blast. All the food was there. They had these different beers, because I'm a beer drinker, and it was like, man, I love this stuff, man. And it was just off the charts,
margaritas,
fun, everything. And then you got like picture booths. It kind of reminded you of a wedding reception, man. It was like, it was just so neat, and freaking and the food and on and on. And so it's a beautiful thing you got. I mean, it's really, really great for the CE, but it's great just for getting to know other peers in your industry, that it's not a stuffy little thing that where you, like you said, you don't really know anyone. You're going in, you're going to learn and take it home with you and blah, blah, blah. This is kind of like a high school reunion / every different kind of dentist, older dentists, younger dentists, and they're from all over the United States that came into Austin that weekend. And I think this is your third or fourth year now, and it's you're up with the big boys. The way you guys are doing practice management, you're doing continuing education, you're doing the whole gamut of it. And then I think what you do with the Dental Maverick, you also do your tell me a little bit of how you do, other than the summit, you do one-on-ones, or do you have a program that you sell online? Tell us a little bit about your the regular Dental Maverick program that you have.
Well, we got, I designed this program because one of the things that you may see, and you probably, if you're on Dental Town or you're on Facebook, one of the biggest things that dentists will talk about is, I don't want to manage my staff. I don't want to deal with my staff. I just want to come in to work and do dentistry. Yeah, exactly. Well, that makes perfect sense, because I'm a dentist. We're obsessive. We like technical work. I mean, we were trained for 4 years, beating our heads to do this a certain way. So we love, as far as I assume most people like that, it becomes ingrained in them. And so that's why a lot of us, we just want to do dentistry. And we say that because 4 years of school and additional clinical CE outside of school, that's what we focus on. And so not many people focus on, how do I run my office? Or how do I get my staff to do what I need them to do so I can be the dentist and do the clinical work that I want? Exactly. And so I created this program called Dental Maverick. It's over 40 plus videos for the doctor, sequence per week, where you learn mainly the principles of communication with your office, your staff, also very importantly patients, which gives you a return of investment right away, because you'll see your treatment plans acceptances go up. And then we migrate into many things. There's a gamut of topics, but the main focus we have on is how to learn management skills, which translates to eventually you becoming a leader. Because if you can create the office where your team works with you, yes, instead of against you, that's where life is great. Yeah. I mean, that's where you stroll into work, your office does what you want, you're profitable, you're successful, you enjoy it. I mean, that's what we all want in life. I mean, we want a job that we enjoy. Well, all of us, most of us, if we could be the Kardashians and not have to work, which is, that'd be ideal, but that's not us. If we have to go to work, which is not a bad thing, I think it's great. It gives you purpose sometimes. You go to work. If we can get our work to what we want, then work isn't hard.
Exactly.
Work is easy.
It really is.
And then, yeah. And, I'm a dentist, so I understand how dentists think. We like systems. We like structure. Yep. We want to know the why. Well, once we get the system, we want to duplicate it. So that's how I present everything. You learn the why, the principle, but then you have exactly how it works and something for you to copy and recognize. And that's why it works so well.
Oh, it does. It really does. And like any great CEO or president of a company, you do what you do, and you surround yourself with people to do the jobs that, a president or a CEO or a dentist, they're there to do dentistry. And I have so many dentists that are kind of older school guys, and they like to do, they do their, accounting. They like to do the ordering, like to do so many things where you got to delegate. And, even if you only have 2 or 3 people, you got to have your systems in place, and it's just working smarter and not harder. And there's so much, that they don't get with the business part of it. They're great dentists. I got a lot of guys that just got great theory. They got so much knowledge and their hand skills are good, but then running a business, man, they're working way too hard. If they could just get their systems in place, and like me with the lab, I come and I do what I do, and I'm not good at numbers. I got a CFO to do that. I mean, you just got your different people in the different areas, and it's like a football team, like a professional football team that is playoffs. Always in the playoffs, because they're structured well, and the staff and everyone knows their jobs. Like with me, I was saying here, with people and quality, the behavior that you receive is what you tolerate. And it's just something, if you're going to accept the bullshit and the crappy work, you're going to get that. But if you demand excellence, and after a while it's so easy for them. If you do things the right way and do it over and over, it's easy. And with the systems in a dental office, it's so freaking easy if you could just get it all dialed in with your recalls, with how you're setting your patients up, with how you're doing treatment planning and accepting the monies and who's doing this. And it's just so neat when you got a program like yours where it's all set up for you. It's here, here, here. Just do it yourself, like any repetition, 3 weeks, to change a habit, to get into a new, technique. It's just so neat and spelled out so nicely with your program. And I've had other doctors talk about it that have went through it, and they really, their numbers improve. And a lot of older doctors are like, oh, it's all about numbers and growing this. I don't believe in that. And well, you know what? You can be miserable doing $300,000 in sales a year, or you can be miserable doing 300 million or 3 million in sales a year, and you're just the same miserableness. You might as well be up here doing 3 million, because you're not going to be any more miserable than you are making 300,000.
Yeah.
And it's just working smarter, and it's just having your systems in place. And it's just an awesome thing. I mean, that's what, their Spear, education, and that's what COI's, and they're all trying to do, the technique and the CE and all that, but also the practice management with it all, where you got it all with all your different people you got on this program, you got a little bit of everything. And I think it's just a great thing for a 2-day thing. You can get so much out of it. And I just see so many of the younger dentists kind of gravitating towards you. And I wish some of the dentists that are 20 years in would even do it, because, teaching an old dog new tricks, they say it can't happen, but it can happen. And you just have to put your mind to it and just find something that resonates with you, and it's success. It's just proven. I remember seeing people online with you, let's do the dashboard, and see where your numbers were here this month, and look what it is this month, and let's go year end from last November to this November. I mean, it's all structured, and that's what I run my company. I got numbers every day that come into me, where we're at, what's up, what's down, what each tech does, and how much they can do. And it's just a format, like a template that you need at the beginning, and you can tweak it along the way to make it your own and make it easier. And, just again, working smarter, not harder, but you got a great program. I just wish more of the dentists would get that earlier in their career instead of waiting so long, because there's no reason why you can't be growing from the get-go of the start of a practice.
Absolutely.
So it's awesome. And I remember you were so young, you were early 30s and stuff. It's like, you're telling these doctors, you're very brave. I love the way you get on and do your videos and all that. And it's just like, you're just a young dude. And I got guys, in 20, 30 years in, and they, set in their ways. And I just love it. And you don't have to totally grow and blow it up, but it's just working a little smarter and just having structure, and everything is structured properly, and it works. And it just, it really works. And I think the employees even enjoy it because they're more empowered. They know what needs to be done. And it's not like, hey, let's do it this way this week, and let's kind of do it this way. And, when you have everyone all on the same page and everyone has job descriptions, and someone could come in and you could show them exactly what this job description is and what you need to do. And that's just the way, Fortune 500 companies are run. And for a dental office, they're little gold mines if you run it properly. And I'm not saying work longer hours and all this other stuff. No, you can still do your 2, 3, 4 days a week, still be very, very profitable and very relaxed, and, sleeping at night and everything else. But it's all structure, and you do have it with your system. And I wish I could get more of my guys, doing it, especially some of the younger ones. So that's awesome, dude. I just thought I'd throw that in there a little bit for you.
Oh yeah, thanks for the comments. And you're absolutely right. Like saying, employees appreciate consistency. If you do something the same every week and you have the same expectations for everyone, just like you do with all your employees, or I'm sure you have the same expectations of all your technicians.
Absolutely.
If someone goes out of line and you correct them, for the person getting corrected, they might not be too happy because they're getting corrected, but deep down they respect you because they know you're holding them to your expectations. And
exactly.
Then all the employees, others see it, and they're like, yeah, man, this guy is a man of his word. He said he's going to expect this, and he does. And that's how you build consistency. That's how you build a team that respects it. And just like you were saying earlier, like creating that culture of what you expect, because if you do it enough, they just know. It's not like second guessing where you may like, oh, he's not going to worry if we do it this next week. We'll get away with it. They just know, like, yeah, I got to do what he says because that's what he expects.
Exactly. And it's almost, they get to the point where they'll almost fire themselves, if they know, if you keep sending up cases, the shades are off and you're getting pink slipped and over, for the same thing, we just can't tolerate that. But that didn't really happen here, but it did back in the day with certain people. And they kind of knew after a while, like, come on, we kind of keep going over this. And couple 3 weeks is fine, but not a couple months, and for sure not a couple years. We're going to keep having the same, your contacts are always light or this and that. It's just little things, but it's kind of neat when they know what's needed to be done and you hold them to it. And after a while, it just works its way out, works itself out, for sure. But no, that's neat. So who else on your program? Who do you got? Who are some of the tell me some of the different guys that are coming on, and anyone digitally working on some of the digital scanning? I'm sure you're touching all aspects, but name some of the showstoppers we going to have on the program this year.
Well, first of all, you're talking about digital guys. We got Todd Ehrlich. I'm sure you know of him or probably met him.
Mr. All digital for sure. That guy, if anyone knows it, he does.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. So he's Todd Ehrlich at Digital Enamel. He's going to talk about kind of like what dentistry is going to be like in 10 to 15 years and, new technologies coming in and, dentists can make the decisions on what they want, but you just don't want to fall too far behind the curve if everyone is adapting to new techniques or new procedures or new ways to do things. So that'll give insight into that. Beyond that, we have a lady that many dentists use with a program called Yappy, which is a very good
she's
paperless
the Russian
program.
lady, isn't it? Is she Russian or something?
Yeah, Gina Dorfman.
Yeah, Dr. Dorfman. That's
smart,
awesome.
Man.
Yeah, she is.
That lady is like a superwoman. I mean, she runs like 2 offices. Like, she was telling me about her business. She has 2 locations for the business, training, technical, and sales, and everything. And I mean, this company, they're just growing. Like, and it blows my mind how she does that. And as a parent, a wife, whole 9 yards. I mean, that lady manages her time like unbelievably. And she talks about how, it's creating a team that helps you out. So she's there. We got this guy, Ryan O'Neill. This guy's a beast, man. He's in his 30s, mid 30s. He has 5 offices.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah. Not only that, you talk to him, he's like really into like making sure they do a good job. Like, some people might get the impression like he's 5 offices. He's all about making money. Well, yeah, he's going to make money because he has 5 offices, but you should see how this guy is. He is really into making sure by empowering his employees that the work gets done as appropriate.
No kidding.
He's going to be there. We got this lady, Dr. Olya. I'm not sure how to say her last name, but she's of the Z Group, and she's going to talk about medical billing.
Okay.
We got a guy in Texas named Brett Murphy, who's very popular online on Facebook. This guy he has one of the most amazing fee-for-service offices in somewhere in Houston. I forget where.
Okay.
But it's pretty interesting. He's like, I don't know how old he is, but he's about to take an 8-month sabbatical, he told me, buy a sailboat and sail around the world with his family because his office is going to continue on just fine without him.
Unbelievable.
So,
awesome.
I want to hear about how you can do that. I can't take 8 months off to go sail around the world. I mean, first of all, I don't know how to sail a boat.
Yeah.
And I can't swim well, so I'm not going to do that, but I want to see how I can do it.
Exactly. Oh, man.
And then a couple more people. We got this lady, Emily Letran. She's a motivational speaker, has books, a trainer, too. But it's interesting. She's, a lot of times, we dentists complain about our lives and, how we had a bad day, and that's true. I mean, I have bad days. We all have bad days. We're upset. But this lady, she came from she fled her country during a war, with no education, and then she grew up in the U.S. Sometime and became a dentist, and now does all these things. So, you know what? It puts into our lives perspective about how rough we really have it, which is not that rough compared to, many other countries or people of the world. So that's good to have perspective. And like I said, I got another guy, Charlton Ho. He could retire in his mid-40s, so he's going to talk about that, how to stay on track. We got a guy, Len Tao, that many people know as the Bird Eye guy. He's the guy that gets your business's reputation online as optimal as possible. And we have one of the guys that a lot of docs have heard of. His name is Glenn Vo. He's created something called Nifty Thrifty, which is like a buying group for dentists where he negotiates deals to reduce costs and gets a lot of businesses, new clients too. So he has a very large following. Like his group has like 18,000 people or something like that. So he's going to be talking about common sense money management and empowering your team to help save. So, I mean, we got as you can see, it's a variety of people.
It's huge.
They all got something to learn from. I'm going to learn from every single one of them and go home and probably save some money myself in my office.
Absolutely.
Or whatever I want to do.
Oh, that's so cool. Now, that's a whole docket of a bunch of great dentists, and what a great program, man. That's awesome. Hats off to you, man. And we're going to put it all in our show notes here for where people can get on and click on and sign up. And I know even Dr. Vo, I work with him too. He's a sharp kid, man. He reminds me of you. He's a go-getter out there. I don't like it when he comes to me, Shaun, what are you going to do on the Nifty Thrifty deals for the, I can't go down much lower, but I see it, man. I see the value with that for sure. And with volume purchasing from like the Dent Supplies and all these other, they negotiate some great pricing for the dentist. So no, on and on. There's a lot of people on the program that'll benefit many of these dentists out there in a lot of different ways. So, man, Doctor, I can't thank you enough for coming on, man. I can't thank you enough for asking me to come on. It was a pleasure. Oh, that's so cool. Love it seeing you and your wife. You got a beautiful wife, man. She's so chill also. And see you guys heck, where'd you guys go? Across Europe and you're in Dubai, or where were you? You're all over taking pictures. I remember seeing you one of your vacations recently. Where'd you go? You were everywhere.
Well, I mean, for our honeymoon 2 years ago, we went to, where did we go? We went first to Japan and then the Maldives. And then we went to Paris. But what was it? This spring break, I went to, where'd I go? I went to French Polynesia. Yeah, that was awesome.
What the heck,
I went to Bora Bora. And I went to, what's the other place I went to? Morea. Man, it was amazing. I went fishing. Oh man.
I always see you fishing, dude. Yeah, you'd love to fish.
Oh, I go fishing everywhere. Have you eaten a blue marlin? They had like blue marlin there. I'd never seen it.
Blue marlins are the biggest, blue and black. We have the striped marlin here on our West Coast, but no, that's good stuff, man. That's a delicacy for a lot of people. Love it. We'll get you out some deep sea fishing when you get your butt out over here, man. I'll get you on some big fish, but that's awesome. I love seeing you fish and everything else, and you just got such a good disposition, such a good attitude, man. You're always up, man. I just love that. You keep that passion and keep smiling like you do, and I know good things are coming your way, and they already are, and just keep doing what you're doing, man. But hey, thanks again for this podcast. I'm going to let you go. I know you're a busy man, and
all right, thanks
for taking the time.
Thanks, Shaun.
We'll see you real soon.
Hey, have a nice weekend.
All right, baby. You too, man. We'll talk to you later. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on the Dental Up Podcast Show this week. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or search the Dental Up Podcast on iTunes for our weekly feed. Don't forget to visit KeatingDentalArts.com/promo for exclusive offers. Keating Dental Arts is a full-service dental laboratory, and we're nationwide. We'd love for you to send us a case so we can show you the Keating difference. If you dig what you heard, please leave a review on iTunes, and we'll be back next week.